Hi, I'm Megan.
I'm Colin.
We are the hosts of Pet Sitter Confessional, an open and honest discussion about life as a pet sitter. We appreciate you listening today and joining us on this journey, whether it's your first episode or your 626th episode. We are so glad that you are here. We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Pet Sitters Associates, and also our executive producers on Patreon. They are people who love the show, find value in it, and want it to keep going. So they have given us a little bit of their money every month. If you are listening and that sounds like something that you want to be involved in, you can go to petsitterconfessional.com/support. Let's be honest, if you have been in the pet sitting and dog walking industry for any length of time, it can look pretty dreamy from the outside, right? And then once you get in, you're like, this isn't what I signed up for.
Never mind.
But from the outside, it could be flexible hours, cute animals, working for yourself. It seems like the dream job. Some people might say, you get to play with dogs and cats all day? That must be amazing. And yes, while it is amazing, there's obviously a lot more tied up into that. Here's the reality. After years in this business, sometimes it doesn't feel amazing anymore. Sometimes it feels ho-hum, flat, like every day is the same. Sure, we're visiting different dogs and cats each day and going into different homes, but it can feel pretty humdrum.
Yep, you're walking the same streets, feeding the same pets, writing the same reports, especially for those pets that you've cared for year after year. Sometimes those reports get really hard to make unique and special. And then the joy that we once had about what we did and what we focused on and what we worked with, it now feels dulled. And if you're like most other professional sitters, you might even feel guilty about this. How dare I be bored when I get to do this for a living? I chose to be here. This is my business. I love animals so much. But again, here's this truth. Monotony is part of the job. Every profession has its daily grind, has its seasons that it works through. The question isn't, will it happen? It's, what will we do when it does to us?
So that's what we're going to talk about today, is the ho-hum side of pet sitting, why it happens, the risks of staying stuck in the daily grind, and most importantly, practical ways to reignite your motivation. This monotony can happen whether we realize it or not. Why does the ho-hum feeling creep in? It could be because of repetition. Pet sitting is built on routine, or dog walks. You're walking the same dogs over and over every day. Pets thrive on that consistency, which means that we, as the humans, repeat the same walks, the same feedings, the same playtimes day after day.
And oftentimes we want to cultivate this relationship with the same clients, right? We want to have repeat clients. It can be expensive and costly to go out and acquire new clients. So the dream is to have clients who are with you year after year. But again, now the consistency kicks in. And while that is a big bonus for the pet and the person, it can be a drawback to us because, it's Daisy and it's 3:00. So I'm always doing this. And then after Daisy, I always go do this. And then I do this and then this and this and this. That repetition, which is a good thing, can be a bad thing for us.
Well, because that's sometimes what we use in our marketing messaging as well, as pets thrive on consistency, routine. We will be there no matter what, taking your dog on a walk the same day at the same time over and over again.
Right.
But it can really lead to emotional fatigue because we're caring for pets. We're supporting their people through their lives with their pets. That can mean illness to either the human or the pet, or the client moving, or going through some sort of grief cycle, or joy. Maybe they had something really awesome happen to them. That kind of emotional labor adds up because, again, we're not just talking about one client we're dealing with here that we're having to go through these things with. It's 10, 20, 100, 500, 1,000 clients. And this isn't really scalable because it can totally lead to burnout.
Yeah, you go through those roller coasters of one visit, you're there and you're dealing with a very sick elderly dog or cat who's on its last legs and you're trying to help them stay comfortable. And the next visit, you're going to the new family who got a brand new puppy. And then the next visit, you're doing something completely different. And over time, this ups and downs, while it may seem like, that adds variety to your life. Well, this emotional fatigue, though, this leads to a dulling of ourselves because we can't ride the high highs and the low lows. So we get blunted at either end and we just kind of mellow out in the middle, which means that we don't really get excited about a whole lot of things. That joy, we don't ride that up. And then the sadness and the grief doesn't really impact us either. We kind of become numb to all of that and really just kind of go through the motions.
It's definitely exacerbated because we oftentimes feel like we're alone on an island. I'm the only one in my business. I'm a solo solo, or even if I have a team, they don't understand what I'm going through the day in and day out. I feel isolated. Most of our time is spent with the pets, not people. Even if you are mostly out of the field and doing admin work, it's still very lonely.
Well, and many of us would say, oh, I'm more of a pet person than a people person. But we have to be honest, when we go through tough times, when we do have exciting things in our lives, we want to share those with somebody. I mean, it is beneficial to be around other people. Being a hermit, especially in an isolated way like this, can be very damaging to us, where, again, emotionally we don't have that outlet. We don't have somebody to encourage us. We don't have that connection to another person to live with and go through our lives with, which means that, again, we get blunted and all these things get reduced.
And it's kind of like the perfect storm here, because we go through this emotional fatigue, we feel alone, and then there's the physical grind of this as well. The getting up early, the staying up late, the actual walking or going from house to house. When our bodies are fatigued, it can feel like everything is heavier, everything is exacerbated.
Yeah, we just have that weight that you carry around with you all of the time. I mean, when you're really tired, I know for me at least, I mean, this rings true. When I'm really tired, the whole day just a slog to get through. And then having to do that day after day after day. You never get a full rest. You never get a time to recover. It's always one more thing, one more thing, one more thing. And then, Megan, like you said, you're piling on all of this other stuff. It's just stacking and stacking and stacking.
And finally, the humdrum creeps in because of the comparison game that a lot of us play. We ourselves are included. Social media shows the highlight reel. Other sitters looking inspired and joyful, and they have all their ducks in a row and their I's crossed and their T's dotted. Meanwhile, you feel like you're stuck in the mud and you can't go anywhere and nothing's working in your business. Monotony isn't a sign that you don't care anymore. It's really a natural byproduct of sustained, repetitive work. And again, this is just kind of par for the course. It's not saying that there's not something we can do about it. It's just we have to realize that at some point we are going to experience this.
And this is an aspect that we often do not consider or try and set up things to sustain us in the long term with, because, again, many times we get in this, it's a passion business. We're passionate about helping people. We're passionate about helping pets, and we get into it. And it doesn't feel like a business at first because, man, this is just so fun. And then year 3, year 4, year 10, year 20, that's where we're talking about here of we're in this for the long term. We've been moving, we've been doing, we've been all of this stuff, and nothing new seems new under the sun to us anymore. And where do we go from there? Again, it's just part of when you have that sustained work, and it's that sustained element that really keys into my brain when we go, I want to be in this business for the rest of my life. I want to be in this business for as long as I possibly can. But what are the implications of that? And am I fully prepared to take those on and set me up for success?
Well, and even if you are listening, you're saying, I don't want to be doing this for the next 50, 40 years. That's not my goal. Sure. I just want to do this for a season and then be done. The framework is the same, though. We don't want to be stuck here because the danger isn't in the feeling of the ho-hum. It's staying there. Client experience suffers when we stay there. We have a flat energy when that shows up in our reports, or we're not as passionate anymore. So at the meet and greet, we don't arrive with a level 10 energy. We come with more of a 6, where we really come with more of a 6. Maybe our photos are more lackluster these days. We're not trying to get those action shots or really clear photos. Our interactions, again, with clients, maybe they call you on the phone and you are just so tired of answering the same questions over and over that you're sick of it, and you get a little terse with a client. Clients can notice when your enthusiasm dips, when you're not as passionate about this anymore. And we're not saying that you need to just be at a 10 all the time and dump 100% of your energy into this and do nothing else and be passionate about nothing else.
No, but what we are saying is you have to find an energy level that you can sustain for the long haul. Again, that's what we're talking about here. Are you doing things now that you will be able to do consistently every time for the next 15, 20, 30, 40 years? That's what this is. But you're right. Like when that new client calls, like just start there. The new client calls you asking about pet care, and you're in this flat zone. You're in the humdrum zone where you're just like, I don't care. I don't know, whatever. You're in the whatever phase. That new client calls you. Are they going to be excited to work for you if you're just kind of meh and bleh on the phone and whatever, okay, cool, fine? Like, no, you want that client experience to be great and fantastic all of the time. And the danger, again, here is, okay, so that's the pet, that's the client aspect. What about when the pet care starts slipping? When you're on autopilot, details get missed. Not that they might, it's that they do get missed. Medications, behavior change, new instructions, all these aspects that rapidly change. When we go on autopilot because the big picture stuff is boring and monotonous to us, the details start getting wiped off our radar and we don't look for them. And when many of us get in business, we go, oh man, I am so detail oriented. I'm all about the details and the details matter and the details are really important to me. But when we're in the ho-hum, we're in the whatever, the details, we stop caring. We're not passionate about rereading the client update or asking the client for new information or really double checking the information before we walk into that visit.
And so when you have this attitude, over time, the work that you once loved becomes just another visit. That resentment can push people out of the industry altogether.
Because instead of showing up saying, I get to do something, now we start showing up saying, I have to do something. Or when that client books and we go, ugh, I've got to do that again. You mean I've got to do this again? What do I? You can't expect me to do that. That resentment, all of a sudden, it just clouds everything, and it's like a stain on everything that we do. We become embittered. It changes our tone. Our passion's not there, and the care does start to slip. And that resentment, man, that's really insidious.
Well, and it accelerates burnout as well because, monotony is a cousin of burnout. If you don't address it, you risk quitting altogether. Not because you hate the work, you still love the puppy cuddles and the kitty kisses, but because you stopped finding joy in it. And that's the really dangerous part. When you have this monotony and you stay there, you choose to stay there, it can really feel like a flat season of, I don't want to do this anymore and I'm just ready to get out. But there is hope. So let's get practical. How do you push through the flat seasons? But before we get there, I want to tell you about our friends at Pet Sitters Associates. All professionals should have specific pet business insurance. As a pet sitter, you know how much trust goes into caring for someone's furry family member. But who's got your back? For over 25 years, Pet Sitters Associates has been helping pet care pros like you with affordable, flexible insurance coverage. Whether you're walking dogs, pet sitting, or just starting out, they make it easy to protect your business. Get a free quote today at PetSitLLC.com. As a listener, you get $10 off your membership when you use code CONFESSIONAL at checkout. That's PetSitLLC.com because your peace of mind is part of great pet care. The first step to pushing through the flat season is changing your environment. So again, we said walking the same dog on the same route every single day. Well, what if it's a different route? Maybe you take a left instead of a right. Maybe you walk down the street instead of up the street. In pet sitting visits, rotate toys or games for the pets. Maybe if it's a very long pet sitting visit and the dog has access to some toys when you're there, maybe hide some toys. And then the next time that you're over, bring them out. It's kind of like what we used to do with the kids of a toy rotation. They're always excited for the new toy that they think.
Yeah, and this may not sound like much. Like, okay, really? You want me to go left instead of right or right instead of left? But yes, even small little nuances and changes that we can make throughout our day build up over time and are very powerful to us. As our brain needs different stimulation, we find new things, we learn new things. It's different exposure to things that allow us to get a little bit of excitement and novelty in our day.
Well, and of course, we always talk about how the dogs need different things, right? They love the fetch one day and the frisbee the next, or the pig toy versus the alligator toy. We talk about that all the time, or a new route so they can smell different mailboxes and different flowers, but we need that as well.
Yeah, set those micro goals for you. Hey, this holds whether you are solo or whether you have a team. Challenge yourself to take the best photo of the week and even punch this up a little bit and send it out to some friends or family to ask, hey, which one of these 5 do you like the most? And then share that out on social media. See how many cues you can reinforce on a walk with that dog that you've been walking for so long. We have some clients who we've cared for 3 times a day for multiple years. How do we make those fresh and keep those interesting? By challenging on different cues or different training things with them during the walk, taking them to different spots and really focusing on different areas throughout the time. Maybe try and find one new detail about a pet each day. Oh, I didn't know you had a bump on your front pad. Or, oh, look at the way that your hair kind of curls right this on the back of your head. Isn't that interesting? Or I'd never noticed that your eyes were just slightly different colors. But these little details that you can focus in show 2 things. One, that you're really hyper paying attention and focusing on the pet. This brings you in the moment. And then 2, you're communicating it out to the client, letting them know that you're bonding and connecting with that pet like you've never have before. Just something novel, something unique about pets that you'd be amazed if you just sit down and stare, feel, touch, be with for an extra 1-2 minutes. You'll be amazed at what you can find.
We're trying to work through the monotony here. And while a lot of that is physical, I think more so it is mental, shifting your perspective. Remember, for the client, this isn't routine. It's their whole world. It's their love, their family. You're not just walking another dog. You are providing peace of mind. You're saying, you can trust me because I notice these things. And I am here as your partner, noticing specific details and sharing them out with you.
Yeah, whenever you have that moment, when you're staring at that pet, the first thought needs to be, there's a person behind those eyes that loves you more than anything in the world. There's a person who loves you so much that they want me to be here when they can't be here. And while showing up for, quote, just another dog walk is part of my day, this is a highlight to that pet's day. This is a highlight that they get, that I get to bring to them to make their lives better. I mean, this is where getting to know the client, getting to understand why they need you is so important, because sometimes it can allow us to connect to something deeper where we start understanding of, oh man, okay, the only way that they can take on this job, or the only way that they can go to that funeral, or the only way that they can whatever, is whenever I'm here. That adds a lot of weight and gravity to what we're here and really punches through the monotony. And when we can connect that on a mental level, it makes it so powerful.
Yeah, we're saying to the client, I'm going to invest in the connection with you, in the connection with your pet. And us as sitters, we have to do that too. Invest in ourselves, in our connections. Talk to other pet sitters. Go to an industry event or a conference or a networking event in your city. Join an online group for pet sitters.
Listen to a really cool podcast about pet sitting. I'm just saying, it's
throwing
an option.
It out there.
It's an option.
Sharing struggles and wins. So we're not just here to complain and bemoan how hard this is and how hard we work. And yes, that is true. We do work very hard, but we want to celebrate in our wins as well. You hit your revenue goal. That's great. You did more dog walks than ever this week. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. You took a coffee break this week with a friend. That is amazing. When we are forced to also just pull unique points of our week out and tell them to somebody, it really helps us start cutting through that monotony. Because many times we may think, oh, nothing happened this week. This week really wasn't excited. I was on autopilot. And then whenever you start digging into it or staring at that calendar because somebody's saying there, hey, what's your win? Or what's something that you loved this week? What was your favorite part about this week? I know it's something that we try very intentionally to do with our kids at the end of every day. Who had a good day? Was it a thumbs up day? Was it a thumbs down day? And then if it was a good day, thumbs up day, we say, what was your favorite part? Getting them to focus on, even though it was a blur, and sometimes Meg and I will even have to sit there and go, oh my gosh, what did we do today? What even happened? But when you're forced to say something, you all of a sudden start realizing, oh my goodness, so many wonderful things happened today. Or, yeah, there were some not so good things there, but I'm still very thankful for my health or my family or the people around me. Again, it brings you in the moment.
So break the monotony. You can also learn something new. Sign up for a fear-free course, or if you always wanted to be a dog trainer, you can start with dog training courses, animal behavior webinars, or pet first aid and CPR. We've actually just partnered with Arden Moore. We just had her on the podcast last week, and her brand new course is Pet First Aid for You. She doesn't just teach first aid, she shows it in a fun and practical way.
So many puns, right? It's just puns, one pun after another. But she actually has 3 different ways of taking it. There's a self-paced online. You can do an interactive Zoom course one-on with her and kind of a group of other people. And then as available, I think she's also doing in-person workshops for these. But September is National Preparedness Month. And so they're giving 5% off if you use the code PREPARE when you go there. Now, this expires it expires October 1st. So you can use the code PREPARE and buy this at any time between when you were listening to this in September through October 1st, 2025, and you'll get 5% off your course. You can then take your course at any time after that at your leisure, but you buy it in September and then just finish the course later.
We'll have the link to the website in the show notes, but it's petfirstaid4u.com, the number 4 and just the letter U. So petfirstaid4u.com. This kind of professional growth brings curiosity into daily work. You can also attend conferences, whether they're inside the pet industry or just regular business conferences, read books, There are so many new aspects to business and what we do in general that you can learn from.
Yeah, and then as you're setting your micro goals of the small things you want to do, make sure that you are celebrating your small wins. Write down one good thing from each day. Keep a highlight reel that you can look back on when you feel flat. Write these in different places so that you can celebrate them, so that when you reach the end of the year, you have a lot to look back on.
The biggest one to break up the monotony is shaking up your business.
Oh, yeah.
Do new things, not just routes, not just new toys, but maybe it's adding a new service you're genuinely excited about, or finally getting started on emails to your clients. You've always wanted to do that, or blogging, or learning something about taxes so that you can be better about preparing your taxes next year.
Maybe it is a full rebrand or just a refresh of your website or your social media presence that you're trying to do there. Or you do try different social posts where you say, okay, I'm not going to do templates anymore. I want to try doing some short videos, or I want to try something this. You're experimenting, sometimes for the first time in a long time. And what really helps you get to this step when you're doing these things in your business is by doing some of the little things that we've talked about, going to professional development, learning new things, being around other people, getting feedback, celebrating your wins, setting these micro goals. A lot of times it gives you the confidence and the knowledge to start going, what could I do differently? What if I did something that was just, and I tried to communicate to something different, or I tried to connect with a different type of client, or I tried to offer instead of an hour long, what if I did just an hour and a half and I pitched it as a social group or something like that? Like, even those things, it adds a little bit of excitement to you because it's new for the first time in a long time.
And sure, yeah, it can be scary to try new things, but also that's what makes it exciting. That's what brings that vibrancy back into your business.
And with all of this, make sure that you prioritize your rest. Right? Make sure that you prioritize you and your well-being through all of this. Sometimes monotony is just actually our body asking for a break. It needs some time to reset and reconfigure itself. So take some guilt-free time off. Block out those dates, tell your clients about them, and then tell them again and again and again, and then just wait for all of the inquiries to pile in for that weekend. But take that time off. Make sure that you actually are able to reset and you're not focused on the things that are a monotony to you. Because that's really a danger, is we take time off, but then we think about the things that were boring and monotonous to us while we were engaged.
Yeah, and resting doesn't mean going to sleep, taking a nap. It can, but it can also mean doing your hobbies, finally getting that scuba certification.
Yes, going for a long hike or taking a painting class. I know that's something actually Megan and I did. We did a sip and paint class that we won because of the summer reading program at her local library. Are either of us very good painters? I will not speak for Megan. I will just say for me, no, I'm very bad at painting.
I'm not the best either.
But we showed up because it was fun, new, novel, different, and we had a blast doing it. And it's finding those little things where you can say, hey, I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone here. I'm going to rest from my monotony by doing something completely different.
You mentioned walking the same clients day after day for 3 years straight and counting. So not only have we had to talk to ourselves about this monotony, but we've had to coach our employees as well of going, yeah, the client still wants to see their dog in different scenarios, in front of different landmarks. They don't want the same old story written to them day after day of, we walked by the gas station again today. It does need to be exciting, which can be hard, but is really crucial to prevent that lackluster effect on your business.
And so what we do with this is we actually sit down with them and we explain, again, we refocus them and say, okay, this is really important because this is the only outside time that this dog gets. The client couldn't have the pet unless we were here showing up for them. This is important for their enrichment, their mental health and well-being, and a well-rounded life for the pet. So we need to do this. Refocus them on the why that we're here. Then we give them challenges. Hey, here's a new route to try. Or, hey, why don't you focus on these kind of photos? Or, hey, here's a new way to write an update. Why don't these little challenges of, instead of doing a fact-based update, do a story-based update, or do an update from the viewpoint of the dog and tell their side of the story of the update. Even these little tweaks where we go, we're still going to do all of the same things just from a different perspective. This gives them permission to start being a little bit more creative, or these little things that now they can start to imbue themselves in and focus on one thing. I know, one thing that I find that I have to do sometimes of like, oh my gosh, okay, so this was the same walk that we're doing
for this dog. It's the 17th time that I've been here. Nothing new has happened. But I saw a butterfly. So let me tell a whole story about the butterfly, or let me tell a whole story about stopping and sniffing the grass, or whatever. It's focused on one particular thing, and we're going to make that our focus. Again, bringing us in the moment, making it purposeful and informational and engaging to the client.
I said at the beginning of this that this season will happen in your business. It may happen on week 2. It could happen at year 20. You just don't know. But something important is you don't always need to fix it right away. You give yourself permission to feel flat. It is okay. Just, again, don't stay there. It's okay to acknowledge the feeling. You don't have to be on fire for pet sitting every single day. You can love your work and still feel bored at times. But when we are grateful, when we say, I get to do this work, I get to provide this care, that gratitude and the monotony can exist at the same time. The key, though, is not to deny it, because if you deny it, the guilt creeps in, and that guilt can make you feel even worse. Instead, you say, again, I get to do this. Yes, today felt flat. I didn't have the joy that I usually feel. That's okay. I'm going to sit in that feeling, but I know that tomorrow I can do better. Can I do 5% better, or can I do 1% better?
Yeah, that gratitude and monotony existing at the same time. I think we're really tapping into why we're showing up. Am I showing up because I need to feel happy? Am I placing my needs and my wants above and beyond those of my pets and those above my clients? And where's the balance there? Because yes, this is our business. This is a business. We should feel engaged and love what we do, but it's not going to happen every single day. And so when I can connect with a higher purpose, with a greater meaning behind my work, that's what helps make it worth it. That's what helps make sure that whenever the monotony comes in, I don't panic and suddenly think, oh crap, I don't love this anymore, so therefore I have to quit, or therefore something must be wrong. I need to get away from this. Instead going, no, this is part of it, right? I'm just going through a slow time right now. It's kind of a drudgery, but I know my work is important. And so I'm still going to show up. It's that level of commitment that really separates people out in any industry. Of if at the first sign of my feelings wavering, I bail and jump ship and try and go, find something. Again, grass is always greener on the other side. Well, it's green because it hasn't been eaten. So by the time we get over there and eat it, guess what's green? The green on the other side. And so just saying, hey, this is a season. There will be a little bit of brown grass here for a little bit, but the seasons will change and it'll come back. My job is to be here for my clients and make sure that I show up as best I can. And like Megan said, I need to show up 5% more tomorrow, or maybe just, can I eke out 1% more? And it'll be 1% better or more engaged, and go from there.
So our challenge to you is notice when you're feeling ho-hum. Don't ignore the feeling, acknowledge that it's there, and ask yourself, what's one thing I can do tomorrow to make the day just a little more interesting, to make it less ho-hum? Remember, the monotony doesn't erase the impact of your work. You are doing amazing things for your clients, for their pets, for yourself. What you do is extraordinary, even when it feels ordinary to us. If you found ways to fight off the ho-hum in your business, we would love to hear them. You can email us at petsitterconfessional@gmail.com or look us up on Facebook and Instagram at petsitterconfessional. We appreciate you listening today. We are so thankful that you are here and you show up for your clients and, more importantly, for yourself. We also want to thank Pet Sitters Associates, and we will talk with you next time.
Bye.